It's the Sick Show.
It's the Sick Show.
It's the Sick Show.
All right, everybody. I'm so excited. Man, one of my favorite things on the planet we're going to talk about today. And I love music. I love talking music. I love talking about the music that I love. Oh, man. And Bob Ross. We're going to talk a little Bob Ross today, too. So I'm just super excited. We're going to talk a little bit about art, how we interpret it, how we consume it, and how we process. Like, how does it change over time? That's what I want to touch on today. And I think y'all are going to get something out of this, and I hope it helps you think and reflect on the different art, um, different types of art that you consume, that you appreciate. And shoot me some feedback. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're thinking about when we're talking about this. Just shoot me a message at therealmrschick@gmail.com or scottstevenschick@gmail.com. Shoot me a message. Hit me up on Twitter. Um, let's talk about it, right? So here we go. So I was asked the other day, what is your favorite song of all time? I had to think about it. I had to think long and hard about it. I have many favorite songs. I have many songs that have impacted me in various ways. I have many songs that bring up certain emotions, that bring up certain times of my life, events, and boy, to boil it down to a favorite song, not an easy task. But I'll be honest, it was interesting that I was asked that question when I was asked, because maybe a month ago, um, listening to some music on Facebook, and um, man, I'm pretty sure it was Derek Jones. If you aren't listening to Derek Jones, y'all are missing out, right? Make sure you check out Derek Jones live and get to know this guy. He's a Hartford City guy, and traveling all over the Midwest right now. And this guy is doing it. He has been doing it. He is seasoned. Man, he's incredible. But sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that tangent. He is not sponsoring this podcast. I would never ask him to do that. If he volunteered it, that's one thing, Derek. But he's not, and I wouldn't allow him to do that anyway. So it's not a friends and family thing. We are going to support each other one way or another, right? Hey, so I was asked that question. What is your favorite song of all time? Thought about it. And like I said, it was interesting. It came up in that moment because just recently I had heard like three guitar notes maybe on an acoustic guitar on Facebook, and it brought me back like time traveling. The DeLorean sped by. I got caught up, like a mailbag on an old rail train, and it took me for a ride back to 1991, 2 ish. And all I could hear in my head was a Chris Cornell song. And it's a fairly obscure song. It's not one that people are, um, gonna probably even remember, but it certainly was a song that hit me hard. But I have many favorite songs. Heck, I have favorite parts of songs. I have a favorite lyric, one singular, a favorite lyric. Not so much about the lyric as about how it was emoted. Yep, I know, I know. Drum fills, bass fills. Man, there's just something about those Stone Temple Pilot bass fills that hit, dude. Like, man, that guy's talented. Solos, guitar solos, guitar notes. Like, I have a singular. Like, I can think of probably singular cymbal crashes. I can think of singular guitar notes. that just when I hear it, it takes me for a ride. And it's all kinds. I love music, all kinds of music, and this was a tough question. But like I said, I figured it out, and we're going to get to that. Can't wait to share that with you as we move through today's podcast. Now, there are different points in life that impact the way we interpret different things. Yeah, take different forms of art, hit us in different ways at different times, and so like painting. Let's look at painting. Now, I've always been a Bob Ross fan. You guys, if you've followed me for very long, if you know me for a while, I absolutely love Bob Ross. It's a guilty pleasure. I collect all the stupid socks and the puzzles, the energy drink. I've never tasted it. I will never ever taste it. But I have it. I have a couple cans of it actually. The mints weren't actually bad. I got finger puppets. I own a painting. I do own a Bob Ross original painting. I also own a Bob Ross art teacher. So we had a group. It was the Fosters. They came to Madison a couple years ago, or a year ago or so, and we put on a Bob Ross experience there. It was a happy little experience, and one day you're going to learn to paint just like Bob Ross. We had about 40 people in there, kids, like we had some of my students from Madison. They came in, and they were able to come in and experience this for free. Man, it was just a great time, great day. We had to overcome some stuff. We'll talk about that at some point, I'm sure, but we had a power outage right at the beginning of it. Are you kidding me? I mean, all these people just paid to come, learn to paint like Bob Ross, and the power goes out for the first hour of this 4-hour ordeal. It actually was kind of a blessing in disguise. It turned out to be a better experience in some weird way. Yeah. But I'm looking at the certified Bob Ross instructors art right now. It's in my studio. It's in my office, and as good as it is, the guy's incredible. He's a great artist. But I go downstairs and I look at the original Bob Ross piece, and it is just magical, guys. I don't know how else to explain it. You watch it on TV, and all your aunts, probably your grandmas that have also tried to paint like maybe you have. But I'm telling you, that guy, he was special, very special. And he tells us all that we can all do it, and we can. When he says, now that's just baloney, he means it. Y'all can. It is a simple technique, but his mastery of it is next level. It is a different experience to check it out in person, to live with it, to see it every day. Heck, we had Benzers frame it for us a couple years ago after I acquired this. It was my parents. They got it at an auction. And when my dad passed, it was one of the few things that I asked if I could have. It was special to me. I have a love for Bob Ross, man. My siblings all know it, and they were a little surprised I didn't ask for it right off the get. And finally, I'm like crying. I'm like, can I have the Bob Ross? Because I love it, right? But it had this ugly 1990s frame on it. I think it was a 1992, 94 when he painted this, and the frame on it was wood. It was natural wood, and had like a little tweed or something, or some sort of banding around it. It was not beautiful by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, Jennifer wouldn't let me hang it in the living room at our house in Hanover. Yeah, but I had Benzer put a frame on it, and I just said, "Hey, just use your gut. Just you're the guy. You're the framer. Just frame it for me, man." And I went in there. We looked at a couple different ones. The first one he pulled out was this dark green, like a forest green, kind of oh, the kind of chippy, rough looking, not barnwood, nothing like that. I mean, this was still a nice frame, but just kind of distressed in a way. And I'm like, yeah, I like that. And then I said, let's look at a few more. We looked at a few more, and we just kept looking at different ones. And finally, I'm like, man, that first one, it hits for some reason. And that's what we went with. Jennifer had no idea that it was even happening. And, I spent some decent money to get it framed professionally, and it's worth it, guys. I'm telling you right now. Get your artwork framed professionally. It makes a huge difference. But brought that thing home. That sucker has been in our living room since. Well, I'm way off topic here. Sorry, guys. There will be a Bob Ross episode, I promise. But yeah. So, so this student asked me my favorite song of all time. And like I said, I had to think, what is interesting? That acoustic song from that TikTok or Facebook video, whatever it was, it took me back 32-ish years, and I instantly connected with a song from my senior year of high school, and I went straight to my phone and YouTubed Chris Cornell Seasons to share that song with my wife. I said to her, how crazy is it that just a few notes that you played for me took me straight back to this song? I had like my hair on my arms was standing up. I had cold chills. Like it took me back. The DeLorean hit me, guys. I was there. Doc Brown and I zooming 88, made it happen. Took me right back to where I was when I first heard it. And I remember loving it then for how raw it was. And I was a Soundgarden fan. I love Chris Cornell. Like, big fan. Man, Bad Motorfinger that was the bomb. Like that stuff hit hard. I was a huge fan of grunge. I was never a big hair metal guy. Wasn't into Crew and Poison and Bon Jovi. It just wasn't it just didn't hit me. But this song and the grunge movement, like, and heavy metal, but this song hit me different then. I love the stripped back nature of it. It's all acoustic. It showed courage on his part to toss away all the support and be free with his artistry. I appreciated it. Then, but I appreciate it very similarly now. But the lyrical artistry is much more meaningful due to the experiences of my life and what I've been through, the things that I've experienced. But then I appreciated his courage to get out front without the support of his full band, without the drums and all the bass and the guitar and just the grit of a metal band and a grunge band, and it was just him and that acoustic guitar, and it was just amazing. I'm throwing out, kind of nerding out on you here a little bit, but Erik Erikson's 8th and last stage of psychological development culminates in an integration of the individual's past, present, and future to confront the conflict between integrity and despair. The result can be either despair or wisdom. When older adults pursue activities that are based in meaning, purpose, and honesty, they can attain the wisdom and integrity about which Erikson writes, rather than experiencing longing and despair. I'm thinking about how that song hit me now, just that wisdom, just how, man, how do they know that? It amazes me how lyricists and authors can utilize language to move you. And I've always envied that. So when I think about that song, it's 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 really cool. I'm gonna read some lyrics here in a minute. Therapeutic. Erickson also continues. Therapeutic art experiences can supply meaning and purpose to the lives of older adults in supportive, non-threatening ways. Meaning, man, is that why Grandma connected? Is that why Grandma Fox connected with Bob so well? Like that art, that physical, she saw something in that. She experienced it. She tried it. It got her active, but she connected with it. It was non-threatening. It's like she's going to take it to the, try and sell it. She's not trying to impress anybody. She is doing it because she enjoyed it. And just how interesting this research I did with Erickson, just that last stage of psychological development, and the integration of the individual's past, present, and future. Just so cool. But so lyrics, one of the lyrics from the song Seasons, he says, "I'm lost behind the words I'll never find, and I'm left behind as the seasons roll on by." Man, I encourage you, download this song, or just go stream it. Go to YouTube, search Chris Cornell Seasons. It's from the Singles soundtrack as a movie, 90s movie, kind of a cult classic. Matt Dillon and just, man, Alice in Chains is in the movie. It's just a cool movie. I haven't watched it since that time. I might have to just go watch it and see how it feels. Maybe we can connect back on that to talk about how that movie feels at 49, after kids and life and everything else. But oh man, so just listen, young people, and even people my age. I'm still a young guy. Time is on your side. I believe time is still on my side. I'm 49. I've been pursuing life in some form. And I say that like, what do you mean you've been pursuing life? I've been pursuing something. I don't think we really know what we're pursuing at 15, 16, 17. Like, maybe some do, man. Like we talked about in the previous podcast. Maybe some know. Like, if you know, God bless you. Man, I so envy that in some way. But I've been pursuing life in some form, I would say, since my mid-teens. I started realizing, we have that self-realization, that moment in our adolescence when we separate from our the adults in our life, and we start finding out who we are as individuals. And everything just revolves around us. I've spent the past 9 years around adolescents who are emerging into their teens, and it's traumatizing in some way. I almost feel like I have a little bit of PTSD, but I don't want to say that because I feel like it's inappropriate towards those who truly do. But I'm telling you, if you've been a middle school educator in some way, shape, or form for any length of time, y'all know what I'm talking about right now. You understand it. But watching this all happen, I think I was that kid. Like I was a very confused teenager who didn't have a clue what he was going to do. I was scared to death. And those lyrics from Chris Cornell, I'm lost and I'm behind and I'm watching my friends, and they're figuring it out, and and I don't even know how to express myself. The words I'll never find. And then they go on to start pursuing their life's dreams, and I was left behind. I did not know what I wanted to do. I was not prepared to be a college student. I was a failure in a big way, and I was left behind. And it took me quite a while to figure that out. And as the seasons rolled on by, man, I can hear the song in my head. It's just a beautiful song. That the guy was a master. Like I said, time's on your side. Um, I'm 49. Time's still on my side, but um, being present in this life, be present in your life. I'm thoughtful in what I'm attempting to accomplish. I would encourage you to put thought into what you're doing. Don't just mindlessly pass the days, just come on. Get out there. Get after something. You know, even if you know that it's not the end game, that experience will carry you. It will carry you past and through some tough times that you're going to encounter as that chaos of life rolls through. But seek meaning, just seeking out that meaning and attempting to accomplish, just whatever's in front of you and overcome that. But through music, I began to form an identity. Yeah, I must have been 8 or 9 years old the first time I heard a song that really grabbed me. I mean, I remember it. I remember exactly where I was, and I remember turning around and looking to see where the hell that came from. What was that? I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and this song just grabbed me. I was at my cousin Jason Jones's house, and his dad had this reel to reel, Pioneer reel to reel. I remember just looking at it. Man, I love that thing. I wanted one so bad. Little did I know that, yeah, it's still really cool. I actually have a reel to reel. I've never hooked it up or listened to anything through it, but his dad had this reel to reel. So Mike, he turned on the music really loud, and on comes this song that was different than anything I'd heard at my house. I mean, my house was 50s rock music, the Big Bopper, Johnny Mathis, Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis. The American Graffiti soundtrack. Still love the American Graffiti soundtrack. If anyone has that album out there, man, I am dying to have a copy of that album. That was my mom's favorite album, and I'm confident that thing was sold at auction. But I'm still looking for one. I have yet to find it, but my mom would put it on and dance the day away. Man, she just danced all over the place. Like, I love watching my mom dance. And my dad, he was a Johnny Cash and Hee Haw lover. He would put on, just some old Slim Pickens and other guys. But I was excited, and something switched in me when Mike turned on that reel to reel, and I loved what I was hearing. It was years later before I learned that I was listening to Eric Clapton, Cocaine. Yeah, no way I could have even comprehended what I was listening to at 8, 9. But when I was maybe 12 or so, that's when I kind of had a realization what I was listening to and what I was really into. And I began going through my sister's 45s, and I would listen to about 10 seconds, and I would know if I liked it or not. And I'm going through these songs, and the Rolling Stones were supposed to be all this. The Beatles were supposed to be all this. I like the Beatles. Revolution. I liked Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter might have been my favorite song on there. I thought that was interesting. But I remember picking up the Led Zeppelin 45. Man, that thing had the red insides. I think it might have been through Island, Casablanca. I can't remember now, but it was "Hey Hey, What Can I Do?" And I'd heard that on the radio before. I knew I'd heard it, like riding in the car with my siblings or something. Listen to maybe 10 seconds of it. I'm like, what is this garbage, man? Now I absolutely love that song, but then what was this? I hated it. But when I flipped it over, oh man, so good. Man, the Immigrant Song, a B-side, guys. A B-side. Like, I'm sitting here beside myself thinking about the Immigrant Song being a B-side. That driving man. Hard driving, incredible screaming. Yes. And I still get excited. I'm sitting here thinking about it. I still get excited when I hear it today. I've sang it at karaoke. Man, that guy was just magical. I wanted to be Robert Plant. Maybe that's why I like when Cornell comes about, I just resonated with him as well. Just that, you know, just that voice of a generation. But man, Robert Plant. It's interesting to think about him, and to think how I could not be interested in "Hey Hey, What Can I Do." It was a much more popular song. Heck, probably even is today. And a few years later, a stripped down acoustic song becomes my all time favorite. Cornell and Plant, they are generational talents, that's for sure. And I absolutely adored what they did. Now I have a new appreciation for "Hey Hey, What Can I Do." It's a fun song. I love singing it. It has meaning. But then, just sitting there flipping through those 45s, putting them on the record player. It was the Immigrant Song, guys. I can't get it out of my head now. I can't even focus, guys, man. So I'm going to throw some more nerd out here at you. So neurological research shows that making art can improve cognitive function by producing both new neural pathways and thicker, stronger dendrites. Dendrites? That's like, no, these are the things that make sure our connections in our brain stay long term. And the art enhances cognitive reserve. It helps the brain's actively compensate for pathology by using more efficient brain networks or alternative brain strategies. So, like the way we think, it can speed up how we think. It can speed up the filing process. It can speed up our retrieval of information, our reaction time, basically. And I think this is really interesting. Making art or even viewing art causes the brain to continue to reshape, adapt, and restructure. Expands the potential to increase brain reserve capacity. Art makes us smarter. Please fund school art projects. Please fund our arts. Encourage your kids to get involved in arts. Man, my parents, they were so encouraging to me. They knew I loved music. I had a keyboard. I had a drum machine. I had drums at one time. I just didn't make the commitment to learn any of them. And I don't think I showed enough interest, long term, enough for my parents to be like, yeah, let's get him some lessons or something. And band, like in school band in fourth grade, they gave me a cornet. I was not playing a cornet. No disrespect towards cornet players. I have a new respect for it now. But 10-year-old Scott had zero interest in playing the cornet. I was going to be the drummer for the next Police. Okay? Just telling you right now. I was going to be the drummer for the next Police. I had to know somebody that was going to be named Stingray or something, and we were going to be the next Police. It was going to be big. Man, get into the arts. It's interesting that a student has asked me what my favorite song was, and it's encouraged me to spend a half hour with you talking about it. This lifetime and the impact art has had on me from a very young age. The intelligence that I feel it's helped me gain. We're going to have to come back and revisit more art talks. This has just made me realize we have got to talk about art more. But just these life experiences, those encounters with art, man, think deep. What is your favorite song? And if you don't have a favorite song, what's your favorite piece of art? And it's not a piece of art. What is your favorite type of, like, what are you into? And think about how that's impacted your life. I mean, I'm going all the way back, 40 years and thinking about one instance that hit me. I mean, hit me hard. I remember, I know where it was. And in my head, maybe if I talked to Mike, he would be like, that was not where I had that. It was not. It was a Pioneer. In my head, that thing was a Pioneer, reel to reel. When you walked into their front door, you hung a right. That's where his stereo was, over in the corner. He put on that song, and he also played that day. Queen. We Will Rock You. I remember that like it was yesterday, and we're just like jamming out at the house. Just a bunch of boys, me, Jason, Ryan. I'm sure Derek probably was there, and Mike just rocking out at the house, listening to some good old rock and roll, man. Gosh. Man, I'm gonna have to go listen to some now. Guys, thanks for being with me today. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to just go back and share, pieces of my life with you and getting to know each other. Thank you so much for supporting me. And, shoot me a message. Hit me up at therealmrschick@gmail.com. Twitter, The Real Mr. Schick. Instagram, Real Mr. Schick. Scott Steven Schick at Gmail. Message me. Let's connect. That's it. I'm out. Have a great day, everybody.